Hi, my name's Barnaby and I'm going through this book, Guitar Aerobics, and recording every exercise as I do so in 3 tempos, a slow one, a medium one and a fast one. And also every 8 weeks I'm doing a video where I talk about my experiences and my feelings about what I've done, what I've learned. And this is week 40, so I'm talking about weeks 33 to week 40. And what I've noticed this time is pretty much the same as I've noticed in previous weeks, except things have become a little more pronounced and exaggerated. So I've always said that I get benefit out of it, and I'm continuing to derive benefit. I've also said that the lessons can be quite inconsistent in that some can be ridiculously easy, some can be ridiculously hard. Obviously that comes down to what you're naturally good at, but I do think some of them have tempos that are really too fast. So one other thing is that some of the exercises themselves are really getting longer. So for example, there was one exercise, which is the alternate picking, where you've got to work with this. Or something like that. It's a massive sequence. It's right up and down the neck. It's a lot to remember. You get distracted for a moment, you're completely lost. So the alternate picking exercises became really, really hard all of a sudden. And some of them were just unplayable. But you know, I did my best. Which is, of course, all one can ever do. The other exercises which became quite difficult, and surprisingly so, were the arpeggio exercises. And the reason for this is tempo. So I'll just look up what the tempo was. You're doing these triplets, for example, it's a group of 4s, but you do it as, right? And the thing about that, when you do it at a faster and faster tempo, it's absolutely fine. And I find I can do that quite comfortably until I get to 120, 128, you know, somewhere around there. But the exercises go up to 144. And what happens is I'll get a couple of sequences, and then it'll just turn into note salad. It'll just be a disaster. So 144 BPM for me with this particular exercise going up and down the neck is just that little bit too fast. It's pushing a repetition to the point of failure. And so I found that consistently across these exercises, that the final tempo is just too fast. I'm not sure what sort of benefit I get out of practicing an exercise at a tempo that's too fast for me. Some people seem to say this is a good thing to do, others say that you're reinforcing mistakes and bad hand positions, so who knows. But I haven't found any of them that I could actually play cleanly at that tempo. I'm getting further into each one, I'm having a gradual improvement, but yeah. Another thing that was weird for me is that the rhythm exercises are normally fairly straightforward, but this time there was one which was using, what was it? Or what was it? Or something like that. And that was fine, except that it went up in semiquavers, so you're really fast. And you're zooming again up and down the neck in this rhythm pattern that I can't ever imagine being practically used at that speed. It really took a long time. And that's been the problem with these inconsistent exercises. It's not so much that they're hard, it's that the joy of this book is you put in a certain amount of time every day and you progress. But with these exercises, if you want to get them under your fingers, you have to put in hours in some cases. And that's a bit of a problem because it kind of starts to defeat the purpose of the book. And so I found, I guess, that that's led to me feeling a little burned out. I'm not completely burned out, I'm still enjoying the book, but I'm getting a bit of fatigue at this point. I've only got 12 weeks to go, I suppose, so I can push on through to the end, but I am feeling a bit tired of some of these exercises. Some of them I really don't enjoy. A lot of the string bending ones are really horrible. There are some where you've really got to hold notes down low, up quite high. and they really hurt your fingers. They really, really stretch and hurt your fingers, but you do them. There are other exercises I found I really don't like, which are the ones like these ones. I don't really like the sound. I don't like the way they feel under the hand. I don't like the whole thing. It just, something about it is just unpleasant. Also on this particular exercise, they go all the way up to the 22nd fret, and of course my Strat only has 21 frets, so I get that sound at the end of the progression every time, which makes it more annoying. I could switch to a 22 fret guitar, but I've decided I'm going to try and do as much of it as I can on this Strat. So that's one of the other issues. That being said, again, I'm finding accuracy, I'm finding that I can get more of a tone out of things, and I'm getting a little better at just remembering longer sequences. There are some things I'm not happy with in my own playing. One of the biggest is the sweep picking. And I'm finding, for example, that I can do something like just fine, but if I play it fast, I'm getting sound, which is dead and uninspiring and really quite horrid. And that's something I'm going to be working on. So what I'm actually going to do once I finish this in 3 months' time, is I'm going to go back over and I'm going to look at those exercises which for me were the hardest. The sweep picking exercises, some of the arpeggio triplet exercises and so on, and I'm going to go over them again. I'm essentially going to make a mini book of just the hardest exercises. I'm not going to video it, but I am going to go over it again for my own interest and just see if I can get that sweep picking down properly after having gone through it this time. Because I've been trying so many different exercises, I haven't concentrated as much as I'd like to on the sweep picking or on some of the other arpeggio and string skipping exercises. So once I finish this book, I'll use it as an opportunity to go back and really nail the parts of it that I just couldn't get down properly. And that's one of the things you will see in these videos. You will see me failing at exercises. I know I've said that before. I put little comments in there that, you know, I didn't get it, or oh, this sounds horrible. And that failure is part of it. I guess I leave those failures in the videos because I think it's an important part of the record of progress or lack of progress. There's no point showing me doing everything really well and only showing me playing things at comfortably at tempos which are good for me. I think it's also valuable to see me screwing up, and I certainly do plenty of that. So as I say, I'll be going back over and looking at those things again. Feeling, as I said, a little bit burned out, but that being said, I still recognise the value of this process. I'm still glad I'm doing it. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to push through to the end. One last comment is that these videos are being filmed well in advance of when I'm releasing them. I've done that because I've known that I've had quite a busy schedule coming up in the later part of the year, and I wanted to have a few videos in reserve. But in fact, I've managed to kind of keep my schedule, so I am anticipating that I may well finish in about 3 months' time. I may actually cross the finish line when I intend. And so I'm currently wondering whether I'll just release all the videos in a big lump when I do that, or whether I'll continue this kind of artificial process of saying that it's a weekly release schedule. I'm not sure. We'll see when that time comes. The other thing, last thing I should mention is that I'm here in Tokyo and we've had horrifying heat waves. So some of the videos have the air conditioner blowing directly on the camera and you get this weird wind sound. I sometimes record with the camera through the amp. I sometimes record through the computer, so sometimes you get a different sound on the drums or a different sound on the guitar or whatever. That's because I'm using different recording techniques. But there's nothing very sophisticated about it. It's just, you know, me sitting in front of a camera and doing this. I could, I suppose, edit all the sound and make everything sound really cool and, you know, put on lots of effects and do all sorts of things and do fancy camera angles, but by the time I'm finished, I'll have done 365 exercises. Actually, there's an exercise 366. Imagine doing that 366 times. No, thank you. I'll just stick with this format. So that's it from me for this talking head video, and I get to do another one at 48, and then I get to do one when we wind up, when we conclude. Cheers.